welcome to Petersburg, Virginia, known for its rich history, Civil War significance, and beautiful architecture, and just 30 minutes south of Richmond. This is a city with a lot of character and charm. Today I'm going to take you to the top places to visit and show you why a trip here is worth it. I'll also make sure to leave the full itinerary in the description below, and make sure to subscribe for more Richmond and Virginia travel tips. All right. Let's go. Our first stop is here at the Blandford Church. It was built in 1735, so it's one of the oldest churches in the US and known for its early 1900s Tiffany stained glass windows. So I'm excited to go in and check those out. The museum's coordinator, Ed, took us around the church to each stained glass window. The church was built in 1735, but it wasn't until 1904 that the stained glass by Louis Comfort Tiffany was installed. The 15 windows were commissioned by the Ladies Memorial Association of Petersburg and various Southern families between 1904 and 1912 as a tribute to Confederate soldiers who died during the siege of Petersburg in the Civil War. Each window tells a different biblical story or religious theme with a written statement under each one. They all have beautiful details, dreamy landscapes, and mesmerizing hues that change as the sunlight shifts throughout the day. Some view them as a beautiful yet problematic artifact of their time, while others appreciate them purely for the artistic value. We then took a tour of the cemetery with Ed. Blandford Church Cemetery is one of the largest and oldest cemeteries in the U.S. It covers 189 acres, dates back to 1702, and has graves from the American Revolution and Civil Wars. It is also the final resting place for over 30,000 Confederate soldiers, making it one of the largest Confederate cemeteries in the country. Definitely a must-stop for those who love cemeteries and for history buffs. Our next stop with our guide Ed was Center Hill Mansion. This mansion was built in 1823 by Robert Bulling IV, whose grave we had just seen at Blandford Cemetery, on a hill overlooking downtown Petersburg. Two presidents have visited here: Abraham Lincoln in 1865, just days after Union forces took Petersburg, and William Howard Taft in 1909. He was the guest of honor with a grand reception hosted by the then owner of the mansion, Charles Hall Davis. The mansion is a perfect example of early 19th century luxury, featuring dramatic columns and grand staircases, ornate plasterwork, and intricate wood carvings, plus period furniture and antiques. The show Mercy Street was also filmed here. What? A drawer?
You know, before you had a remote, you needed
right.
Look at the
Amazing.
snakes.
Yeah.
I'm obsessed with everything in this house. Everything is perfect. Look how massive these rooms are. Wow. When did this shower go out of fashion? I feel like there's so many knobs.
You get it about your water bill. Yeah.
Like, amazing.
Yeah,
This is the biggest mirror ever. Well, that's gotta be two of you at least.
At least.
Probably 12 foot.
Yeah, the sizes of these bedrooms now are really big.
Huge windows too. Love that.
Another Mercy Street dress.
Yeah, go next to it so we can see how big this door is right now.
Fall, though.
Let's see how big this door is. Wow. This is the door we're talking about, everybody. Let's go in and see what it looks like. Well, hello. We have made it to Hotel Petersburg. That's where we are staying for our one-night, two-day trip here to Petersburg. It actually is a historical hotel. It opened in 1916 as a 6-story, 125 guest room hotel. And then in 1969, there was a fire, and then they closed, and it wasn't until 2017 that somebody decided to restore it and renovate it, and then it opened in 2024. So it literally just opened last year as a part of the Hilton Tapestry collection. And so I'm going to show you around the hotel, and then later we're going to go to dinner tonight at Shirley's, which is the restaurant here, and they're doing kind of like an influencer event. They invited some media, so they invited me out to attend the dinner, and so they're going to show us everything down there, I guess. So that's exciting. And as you can tell, I changed my outfit. I am in my dinner attire for the dinner, and I've got my black slacks on, a little like see-through sparkly top. Apparently they have all kinds of options at Shirley's. And the reason it's called Shirley's is this hotel was actually called the Shirley Hotel first. And that was a different hotel than the one that opened in 1916, but that was like the original hotel in this area. And I think that's really fun. Anyway, while I have you here, I'm going to show you a little bit of what our room looks like, and then we will head down to dinner. So when you first walk in is this desk, and Lucas is enjoying the desk right now. And then you turn around, and this is a very big room actually. This bed is a king-size bed, and I just love the wallpaper, and I really love the headboard. It's like a kind of like a faux leather material. I love this color of blue as well. And it looks really nice. They did a great job on the renovation. And then in here is the bathroom. This is my favorite room of this hotel room, I think. Like the wallpaper with the sink. Like, this is so nice. I just steamed a shirt. Like, I don't know if it's marble, but it definitely feels quality. And this mirror is really cute. I love the wallpaper. And then there's a shower right here. And a little framed picture of something that I don't know. Got the toilet. That's always a good time. The towels down there. But yeah, really cute. The best part about this room is the full-length mirror. Thank you. Disney doesn't have full-length mirrors in like a lot of their hotel rooms, so this means a lot. And ignore our stuff right there. We just kind of came up and just went everything. But yeah, this is my outfit. Ooh, a better view of the outfit here. I don't have my shoes on yet, but this is what I'm going for tonight, this evening. This is the boiler of the boiler room. And the boiler room is kind of like a speakeasy vibe. It's like the underground bar, has a food menu with little bites. There's poetry slams, live music in here sometimes. Open from Thursday to Sunday, I believe. So there you go. If you're staying here or if you're in Petersburg, come on by. This is part of the hotel and it's in the, well, old boiler room. Hence the boiler room vibe. Oh, it's so fun. Nice big couches for hangouts. And here is the bar. Look at that. They even have like a cool boiler room sign. Oh, and the chairs are really neat.
Yeah, they are.
Okay, the vibe down here is it's just great. Here is the cocktail menu. So this is what they got going on tonight anyways.
Sure.
I was gonna say, you love sidecars.
It's very lemon forward, which I like. And that's where the smell's coming from.
Okay, we are headed to the restaurant, but this bar is adorable. We love that. Okay, but this is how you get to the restaurant. Okay. Okay, this is the restaurant, Shirley's. Here's the vibe. Wow. We are looking at the menu, and can you tilt it this way a little bit, Luke? Thank you. And this is what you would get if you come to Shirley's. And it looks like the vegan option is this harvest bowl, which sounds really good.
Tonight, we're here specifically to celebrate the F&B portion. So we've got Shirley's, which you're in right now. You enjoyed the boiler room. And if you can wait just a little longer, there will be a fantastic rooftop situation.
This is the harvest bowl, and this is their vegan option, so we're going in. Actually, Lucas has already eaten a lot of it.
I think it's actually really good. I would give it a solid review.
Okay, I'm trying the food. Oh yeah, the rice is very well seasoned. It's pretty good. And for dessert, it is raspberry sorbet. Wow.
Let's see what this is about.
Lucas is taste testing. He drank
I
it.
think I don't know if it might just have sparkling water. It might have champagne. I don't think it's champagne though. It doesn't have like a bite.
Oh my gosh, either way, it's okay.
I want to ask.
It's hilarious.
It tastes delicious.
There's liquid in there. We're curious what it is.
That food is good.
Hello and good morning. It was really nice, actually, the hotel room.
Yeah.
I slept really well. The bed's super comfy, and I really liked the blanket. It was like super cozy. So really good experience. Also, last night was so much fun.
It was.
I got to meet so many people and also get to say hi to people I haven't seen in a while. I think everyone was Richmond based who came out to Petersburg to test out the new hotel and the boiler room and Shirley's, the restaurant. The staff here is so nice.
They go above and beyond.
They are so sweet. Really great experience at Hotel Petersburg. So definitely recommend if you're going to visit Petersburg or you have someone going to Virginia State University in town or something like that. This is a great place to stay. Also, it's so centrally located. We are going to basically walk around in the downtown like historic part. We haven't seen it at all.
Yeah.
And then we're going to get some coffee and some pastries or something. They have a couple bakeries in town. And explore some more Petersburg today.
Yeah.
So
Sounds fun.
yeah, let's go. I also really love the fact that they have real mugs for their coffee station. And I feel like their logo reminds me of Hollywood Tower Hotel, like from the Hollywood Tower ride. What's
Disney?
it called? Yeah,
Tower
what's
of Terror?
the Tower of Terror?
It also looks like it says penthouse.
It's sick.
Yeah.
Hotel Petersburg. I love that. That is so cool. So our first stop is Demolition Coffee, which is themed like Demolition. They had all these pictures up inside of the cafe of Demolition here in Petersburg. And we asked, and they did not have decaf coffee, but they said they could make their chai latte decaf. So I'm not sure because chai usually has caffeine in it, but that's what they said. But I guess either way, chai doesn't have too much caffeine. Lucas and I just don't drink caffeine, but we got it because it was the only thing we could get. So we got a chai latte with oat milk just to try. And it was a vibe in there. And we're outside right now. They have this huge outside area to hang out and people watch if you want. Okay, that's cozy. I haven't had a chai latte in a really long time because it has caffeine in it probably, but it's good. It's really nice.
That's a tasty chai latte. You're right. It's cozy. It's really warm too. It's kind of cold right now.
Right?
Spiced.
Now we're at our second spot, which is the Buttermilk Bake Shop. Apparently they have tons of things and vegan options. So we're gonna go in there and see if there's anything we can grab for breakfast. It smells really good. They have like a wood fire thing outside.
It smells delicious.
All right, the bakery had one vegan option, a red velvet cupcake. So Lucas is going to taste test it.
Red velvet cupcake vibes. Okay, let's see what this is about. The frosting is so good.
All right, is there a good way to eat a cupcake, or do you just look insane with your mouth wide open?
That one.
Okay. Moist, delicious cupcake. The frosting is really good. You can tell that the other stuff in there has got to be tasty, because that was delicious. On Fridays and Saturdays, they do vegan donuts, so we got to come back and try those, because that would be interesting. I'm glad they had one option. I will take it. Absolutely delicious. And it was so cute in there. Highly recommend stopping by. But now we are here at Campbell's Bridge, where we're going to see the Appomattox River Falls. And I guess this is a good location, not only to see Virginia State University across the way, but to start the trail. There's like this big trail where you can walk along the river. So that's really cute. So we're going to do a little of that, little sightseeing, see what the falls look like. I think they're like James River maybe, where it's rapids. I don't know. So yeah, there is literally a parking lot right here, and then Virginia State University, Lucas, and the trail is right here. So we're gonna check it out. Oh my gosh! These seem hardcore! More hardcore than the James River.
They are very hardcore.
I don't think they do rafting trips here, but you literally just walk across the street, and then they have a viewpoint area where we are, and you can see the falls. Oh my gosh.
Pretty powerful.
It might be because it's winter. I don't know, but oh my gosh, it's so fast. I'm curious if they have rafting here. I doubt it. It's nuts. Also, for those people who really love history, there is a building from 1675 that Petersburg is named after. So Peter Jones had a trading station here in the 1600s, and Petersburg is named after him, Peter. So there you go. William Byrd II, who named Richmond, named Petersburg after his friend Peter Jones. So William Byrd II was just going around naming cities apparently back in Virginia in those days. But the fact that they have this building, at least a little bit of the structure, is wild still. And also it was like renovated in the Civil War times because it was used as a jail. So Northern soldiers and all the people were imprisoned here during the Civil War. So could be haunted. Could be. It's a very old structure. Petersburg has so many old structures. This is wild. I love it. I love a good old historical sort of piece, you know? And it's very cool that they have like the building from what Petersburg is named after. So we just popped by another historical spot in Petersburg because the largest free African-American population used to live here in Petersburg on Pocahontas Island, even pre-Civil War, which is really amazing. So they have a placard here. There's not really much else, but this is such a historical spot, I wanted to come by. But it said that by 1860, more members of the city's large free African-American community lived here than in any other neighborhood, and their work in tobacco factories and on wharves fueled the bustling Appomattox River trade. So if you drive a little further to 808 Logan Street, you can see the oldest house, the oldest structure on the island. I think it's the only one, honestly. Everything else seems to be a bit more modern, and it's not in good condition, but that is a little, I guess, example of what it used to be like on the Pocahontas Island. Our last stop in Petersburg is the Petersburg National Battlefield. So there was a siege of Petersburg during the Civil War, and this national battlefield kind of talks about that. It says, converging rail lines made Petersburg the southern gateway to Richmond. If Petersburg fell, the Confederate capital at Richmond would fall as well. For 9.5 months, June 1864 through April 1865, the United States and Confederate armies waged a brutal campaign. In Petersburg, the war became a methodical struggle of endurance and hardship. It ended with the Confederacy on the verge of total defeat. So very important to the Civil War. So this is going to be really cool to see. I think it's similar to Yorktown Battlefield, where you can drive around or walk around to the different areas. And I wonder if they have an app or something where you can listen to historical facts. We're going to find out. We're going to head into the visitor center and check in.
70,000 casualties. A landscape devoured by war.
All right, so we just went into the visitor center. Very informative. They told us everything, which I feel like Yorktown, they didn't tell me as much as they told me here. But also, it has no fee. You don't even need your national parks pass like you do at Yorktown, so it's free, which is awesome. And we just watched a 19-minute film, which basically told us everything, which is great. So now we know how the siege of Petersburg and then how the Civil War ended up ending because of the siege and all the battles. And I just feel very well informed. So definitely recommend watching the film. And then they gave us the guide. So in here is the map. And the first stop is the Eastern Front. And it's right outside the visitor center. Here's the visitor center. Here's the first stop. You walk to the first stop and then you drive to the other stops. You can get out and check them out. And he said it takes like an hour and a half to drive through it all, but we're going to see how long it takes us. I don't know if he was counting the 19-minute film in that, but we are going to walk to the first stop, and it is a glorious day outside, so it's a nice day for a walk. This is where June 1864 initial assaults, I guess, took place right here. On the ground before you, the first major attacks against Petersburg occurred. This bloodletting marked the beginning of 9.5 months of siege warfare. So you can actually, he was telling us you can actually drive to other battlefield sites. I don't know if we have time to do that today, but if you went the full circle, you could spend all day checking out all the battlefield sites, which is really cool. Like City Point, which is where Grant and the troops hung out during the siege. I think during the summer you actually can go tour. And it's right on the James River, actually. And I kind of want to go there sometime. It sounds cool. It says for almost 3 months in 1864, the Dictator, a 13-inch Seacoast mortar, fired upon Confederate positions across the Appomattox River. Wow, that is one big cannon. All right, so your first stop on your tour is Battery 5. And this is Battery 5. And since these cannons could go like a mile once they were shot, like they were shooting them from here, I guess. It said across the river on the placard back there. Though few Confederates stood between the Federals and the streets of Petersburg, Union Major General William F. Smith stopped his advance to await reinforcements. 9 months of tedious, deadly siege would pass before the Federals would again have such an opportunity to capture Petersburg. So, an opportunity lost, a big opportunity lost that they could have won because...
Maybe that's the difference between Grant and Smith, because Grant was like, going for it.
He did every time in the movie. Every time Grant had an opportunity, he was like, go, go, go. And Smith pulled back because he didn't have reinforcements, but literally there was like barely any Confederate troops in Petersburg at the time.
He didn't know that.
He didn't know that, but if he would have just kept going, it would have like probably delayed or like...
He's like, we captured a lot. Let's just go with what we have and not risk losing everything.
Right. So we got into the car and now we are following Siege Road. So once you get out of the visitor center, you keep driving and then you turn right to follow Siege Road. It also says Park Tour, and so you know where to go. And you stop at different stops. They don't have an audio book, but in the program, or I guess the map, or the guide, I guess it's called a guide, they tell you what happened at each stop. And I also think he said there are placards at every stop, so you can get out and read those. Some spots you can get out and walk around in. I guess some are just kind of like you park there and you sort of look at. So we are headed to the first one, which is Confederate Battery 5. Oh wait, no, that was our first one. We already did that. Here's two. This is Confederate Battery 8. It says in the program, this was captured by the U.S. colored troops. The battery was renamed Fort Friend after the nearby Friend House. It had a major role in the March 1865 Battle of Fort Stedman. So I got out to check this one out, Fort Friend, and my mind is blown because the earthworks, like how they built up their siege line and everything, is still here. And it was 1864. And so that's really cool. They have this picture that someone took that is equal to like across the street. And it shows that what I'm looking at here is in this picture where the soldiers are lined up. So a picture from 1864, and I'm looking at that same exact like earth mound, and it's blowing my mind. This is why I love history. I'm like, I'm standing in a place that felt very differently at one point, and other people stood here in a totally different atmosphere than I'm standing now. Blows my mind every time. So if you come on this trail with two people, have one drive and one read. And then if you decide you want to stop, you can stop and read the placard and like get out. That's what we've been doing anyway. So we're at 3, Confederate Battery 9. USCT captured this position on the first day of fighting. The site has examples of siege fortifications and related structures. A 10-minute trail leads to an exhibit on Meade Station, an important supply and hospital depot on the U.S. military railroad built during the siege. So this one looks really cool, actually. We're going to get out and check it out because I haven't seen siege fortifications before. I was also mentioning on the drive to this one that It's really cool to see the Petersburg National Battlefield because the Yorktown one is from the Revolutionary War, so, 1700s, so they don't really have like a lot. It's kind of you just looking at like grass and you're like, oh, okay, something happened here. Whereas Civil War, I guess, isn't as long ago, and they have a lot of the stuff still. So like the earthworks and the mounds and stuff like that. So I don't know, it's just more impactful, I think, that way. So highly recommend it. Also, it's free. Yorktown, you have to pay. I can't remember how much, probably not very much, but it's pretty incredible so far. Anyways, what do you think?
I love the fortification examples and stuff. And
Yeah,
how
it
you can
gives you,
actually see it.
yeah, it gives you a real sense of what it would have looked like.
Yeah.
This is cool too because you can get a sense of like, this is where they would look. They would look through like this hole to see what was going on and be protected by these like sacks and wood and stuff like that. Like, isn't that crazy? That's all you could peek through to keep safe, If you were to drive from the visitor center straight to the last stop, it's like an 11-minute drive. So I think stopping at each spot, unless you do the trails there, but just reading the placards and taking it in, I think you could do this whole national battlefield without watching the film in like 30 to 45 minutes, watching the film maybe an hour, if you're like really like soaky in style. But I think there is a way to do this quite quickly if you're short on time. It's free too, so it's kind of cool to see. But the crater, this is the last stop, is the craziest story in my opinion of the whole Petersburg siege and everything.
Yeah.
They built a tunnel, the Union troops built a tunnel underneath the defense lines of the Confederates, put a bunch of TNT, explosives underneath, and then at like 4:45 a.m. on one morning, they lit it and it exploded and killed a lot of Confederate troops. But then this battle like happened, and I guess with all the confusion of the like explosion and stuff, a lot of Union soldiers went into the tunnel, and it was just like
basically that once the bomb went off and made the hole in the enemy lines, they tried to advance the Union and cut through and go get the Confederates, but they advanced like the wrong way into the crater and they got stuck in there and they couldn't get out, and then they basically just
it was mass chaos.
Yeah.
So we have to choose between seeing the crater and seeing the crater via tunnel. I say crater via tunnel. Crater is the area that blew up, so that's the last stop, so we get to see that, and that's what we're walking to right now.
Definitely some ghosts in there.
Oh yeah, it's a haunted area for sure. They literally have the area of the tunnel still, which is really cool, and this placard and an audio, so you can just push for the audio right here.
Few military men believed the Pennsylvanians could do it, and certainly the military men did little to help. They sent neither tools nor timber and delivered substandard fuses. After a month of dangerous, exacting work, the mine was finished. 4 tons of gunpowder were planted directly onto a Confederate battery. They respliced the fuse, lit it, and dashed out. They felt the ground shake and heard a dull roar. "There she goes!" someone yelled. The Pennsylvanians' mine worked exactly as designed.
We have made it to the crater, and it said that 278 Confederates died in the blast. 2 1,700-pound cannons were hurled completely out of the works. And they were woken up by this because it happened at like 4:45 a.m. It said that since the 1860s, the crater has been a popular spot for tourists. This photo was taken in 1867. Note the skull at the bottom of the picture.
One of the first Union officers to reach the crater removed at the scene.
This one's a little hard to hear.
Little did our men anticipate what they would see upon arriving there. An enormous hole in the ground, filled with dust, great blocks of clay, guns, broken carriages, projecting timbers, and men buried in various ways.
So this plaque talks about the United States colored troops, and it said that they attacked several times, and it said by battle's end and in defeat, these men suffered the greatest number of Union casualties, yet they advanced further than any other Union division on this field. Also, what's interesting is that around the crater are a ton of like monuments put up by the United Daughters of the Confederacy in like the 1920s, idealizing, commemorating the Confederates, like generals and the people who fought and died and stuff like that. So that's really interesting too. So you're sort of seeing like chapters of history. So like the crater itself, you're learning what happened in the Civil War, and then you're seeing in the 1920s how it was commemorated as like the Confederate side were like heroes, and it's just really interesting. And you see that a lot with like Civil War stuff, and also in Richmond in general. It's all a part of a movement called the Lost Cause. And if you haven't read anything about the Lost Cause, you should totally look it up, because it's like an interesting movement where like, yeah, the UDC, the United Daughters of the Confederacy, and others, I guess, idealized the war in a way. They put up like the monuments on Monument Avenue in Richmond and stuff like that. So really interesting, totally worth a look up, a read. But yeah, as you travel around the crater, you're seeing those parts of history as well. And we just completed the circle around the crater, which concludes our trip to Petersburg. And wow, it was amazing. I think that I never really considered Petersburg, but when they invited me out to stay at the hotel and to have dinner, I wanted to make it a whole trip, and then to take you guys along and check out all the top spots. And it was great that Ella with the tourism board and Ed were able to show us around. That was amazing, because we got way more information that way than we would have normally. So that was really cool, and found out so much about Petersburg, and obviously why it was integral to the Civil War, and then just witnessing the amazing architecture and like, oh my gosh, Center Hill Mansion was insane. It was so big. And they filmed Mercy Street there, so that was cool. We watched Mercy Street last night, and like literally we saw the staircase in the rooms. We were like, we were just there. So that was a really cool full circle. And the church, seeing like the windows, the Tiffany windows. Also, those were put in. Were they put in by the Daughters of the Confederacy?
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
Yeah, so that's an interesting aspect of Petersburg as well. They have a lot of like historical stuff like that. And then we went and got coffee and a cupcake that was really delicious. The falls of the Appomattox River. The cupcake was good. Yeah. Those falls were crazy, how fast the river was going. Yeah. I've loved like driving around the battlefield. That's been cool. Staying in the hotel.
Ooh, the hotel was great.
Experiencing that piece of history. Good times. I've loved our 2-day trip here. And I think 2 days is a really good amount of time. We arrived like in the afternoon yesterday, so maybe it's more like 24 hours. But I definitely recommend a trip here. There's a few more things to do that we didn't get a chance to, so I'll definitely be back. And I kept saying this whole trip, I've got to bring my parents here. So maybe you'll see another vlog with my parents when they come visit again to Petersburg, because they'll love it.
They will.
And I hope you guys enjoyed this video too. If we missed out on anything, or you've been to Petersburg before and you want us to come next time we're in, make sure to leave that comment below. And also tell me like what your favorite thing that I went and saw would be if you came on a trip here. Subscribe for more Richmond and Virginia travel. And if you want to see more of my Virginia travel tips, I'll leave the playlist right here, and Richmond playlist right here in case you're also traveling to Richmond. It's literally only 30 minutes or so away from Petersburg, so kind of a 2-in-1 trip if you're going to be traveling this way. And we'll see you next video.
Bye.
Bye.